He arrived every night when the building was almost empty. When the lights inside offices stayed on, only 4 people who thought sleep was optional. Elias pushed his cleaning cart quietly through polished hallways, his footsteps soft, his presence barely noticed. He worked nights because nights asked fewer questions and expected fewer explanations. In a place full of voices, silence had become his shield. To the people who passed him, Elias was just the janitor with the mop and the tired eyes. Some nodded politely, some avoided eye contact, and some spoke to him slowly, loudly, as if language itself were a wall he could not climb. He understood more than they assumed, but he chose not to correct them. Correcting people rarely changed their minds, and it often made work harder. Elias came from a place where words once mattered deeply to him. Back home, he had studied, debated, designed, and built things that lasted longer than conversations. War had taken that life apart piece by piece, leaving him with memories, scars, and the responsibility of sending money back to family who depended on him. The mop in his hand was not a symbol of failure, but survival. The building he cleaned belonged to a powerful company, one that talked often about innovation and intelligence. Executives stayed late, arguing strategies and numbers, never noticing the man cleaning behind them. When things went missing or mistakes were found the next morning, suspicion traveled faster than facts. Elias's silence made him an easy answer. One night, a senior manager complained that a secure office door had been left unlocked. No one asked who had last entered the room, only who cleaned it. Elias was questioned briefly, spoken to with clipped words and raised eyebrows. He nodded, answered simply, and returned to work. Another time, files were misplaced, and his name appeared in conversations he was not part of. People spoke as if he were incapable of understanding them, discussing him while he stood only a few steps away. Elias felt the familiar tightening in his chest, but said nothing. He had learned that defending yourself without being heard only deepened the wound. He did his job with the same care every night, wiping fingerprints from glass walls that reflected faces more confident than kind. He memorized the buildings, rhythms, the way air moved through vents, the hum of machines behind locked doors. Some habits never leave you, no matter how far life pushes you from who you once were. Observation had once been part of his profession. The accusation that changed everything came quietly, wrapped in professionalism. Confidential documents disappeared from a restricted floor, and security footage showed Elias nearby during his shift. The footage was grainy, incomplete, and convenient. Management contacted authorities before contacting him. Elias was arrested without drama, escorted through the same lobby he had cleaned hundreds of times. People stared now, recognizing his face for the first time, but not with curiosity or respect. Shame hung in the air like a fog that no one acknowledged. Elias kept his hands steady and his head high. In court, expectations were low and assumptions were loud. The prosecutor spoke confidently, presenting Elias as a simple man who had access and opportunity. His limited English was mentioned more than evidence, his job title repeated like proof. People nodded along, satisfied with an easy explanation. Elias listened carefully, hands folded, eyes focused forward. He understood enough English to follow the accusations, though he preferred his silence to interruption. Silence had protected him for years, but now it felt heavier. Still, he waited. When his lawyer asked if he wished to testify, the room grew quietly uncomfortable. No one expected much, and that was the problem. Elias stood slowly and asked for a translator, his voice calm and clear. The shift in the room was immediate. Through the translator, Elias spoke in measured sentences, explaining not just where he was that night, but what he noticed. He described flaws in the building's security system, patterns in access logs, and blind spots in the camera placement. People leaned forward as he spoke, surprised by the precision of his observations. He explained that he had noticed unusual behavior weeks earlier and had mentioned it to a supervisor who never followed up. He described systems the way only someone deeply trained ever could. The room changed with every word. Elias then spoke about his past, not dramatically, not with bitterness. He spoke of studying civil engineering, of designing structures meant to stand against time and pressure. He spoke of losing everything to war and displacement, and of choosing dignity over bitterness. Evidence was reviewed again, this time with attention. Logs matched his explanation, and further investigation revealed an internal breach. unrelated to him. The case unraveled quietly, piece by piece. The courtroom that once doubted him now sat in stunned silence. Charges were dropped before the day ended. Apologies came hesitantly, awkward and late. Elias listened, nodded, and thanked the court for hearing him. He returned to the building one final time to collect his things. Some people avoided his eyes. Others tried to speak kindly for the first time. Elias accepted their words politely, without resentment. He had said everything that mattered when it counted. As he walked away, he felt lighter, not because he was proven right, but because he never lost himself. Silence had never meant ignorance, and humility had never meant weakness. He carried his name, his history, and his humanity forward, intact. Some people learned a lesson that day. Others only felt discomfort, but Elias knew something they were just beginning to understand. A person's worth is not measured by accent, job title, or silence. It lives in character, clarity, and the courage to speak when truth demands it.